Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers, including our favorite NIO, have made significant strides. But here's the kicker: a large part of their success can be attributed to government subsidies/support. The subsidies have been allowing Chinese companies to undercut their competition. The question at hand is, does that really count as fair competition? If you want to be a part of the conversation before it happens here on YouTube, click that link in the description to join the free Courtside Financial Discord. What's going on, everyone? My name's Obi, and welcome back to the Courtside Financial Podcast, the podcast where we talk about business and technology. In this episode, today's episode, we'll be diving into a topic that is making waves not only in China, not only in the US, but across the world. That is tariffs on Chinese EVs. I'll be playing devil's advocate, sharing the other side of the argument, which is going to be the position that the US is taking on Chinese EVs, that Europe is taking on Chinese EVs, that Canada is taking on Chinese EVs. So, going to be a super interesting episode, going to help everyone here to understand both sides of this thing. Before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We are trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before the year is over. Click that notification bell icon and leave a comment down below. All your engagement really does go a long way in helping out the channel, helping us to reach a broader audience, and myself to continue to create content for you guys. So without further ado, no more talk, let's get into today's episode. First off, let's set the stage with a bit of history. Back in 1994, the Chinese government designated the car industry as a pillar industry of their economy. This means that it was seen as essential for the growth of other industries like metal and electronics. China wanted to secure the top spot on the world stage, and in order to do that, they needed a robust car industry. The challenge: they had to make a century's worth of progress in only just a few decades. And guess what? They did it. Today, Chinese manufacturers like NIO are at the forefront of innovation, producing world-class electric vehicles that are not only technologically advanced, but also competitively priced. Fast forward to today, and it looks like their strategy worked. Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers, including our favorite NIO, have made significant strides. But here's the kicker: a large part of their success can be attributed to government subsidies/support. The subsidies have been allowing Chinese companies to undercut their competition. The question at hand is, does that really count as fair competition? Let's take a look at this from the US perspective. Uncle Sam is not too thrilled with the subsidies. The US argues that subsidies create an uneven playing field. American manufacturers like Tesla have to compete with such heavy backing from the Chinese government. This is why we're seeing discussions about imposing tariffs on Chinese EVs. From the US perspective, let's not forget, I'm speaking from perspectives outside of the Chinese perspective in this video. I'm playing devil's advocate and cheering because there are valid points on both sides. We always talk about the Chinese side. Today we're talking about outside of China. But anyways, the idea is to level the playing field by making Chinese electric vehicles more expensive in the US market, giving American manufacturers a quote-unquote fair shot. But there's some other considerations when it comes to this thought process. Some say that the tariffs could backfire. Higher prices for Chinese EVs could lead to higher prices for all, making the entire EV market less affordable for consumers. And let's not forget, many components in American EVs are sourced from China. Tariffs could disrupt these supply chains, leading to production delays and increased costs. Let me tell you a story. Imagine a small American startup, let's call it Eco Wheels. Eco Wheels is developing a revolutionary battery technology that could extend the range of electric vehicles by 50%. Sounds amazing, right? But here's the catch. Eco Wheels relies on specific components from China to build their batteries. If tariffs are imposed, the cost of these components could skyrocket, potentially delaying the rollout of this groundbreaking technology. This is the real concern for many innovative companies in the US. Next, let's hop across the Atlantic to Europe. The European Union is also wanting to impose tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. Europe has a strong automotive industry, and Their concern is that Chinese EVs with their lower prices could flood the market and outcompete local brands. European automakers argue that they need protection to be able to compete fairly. On the flip side, some European consumers are arguing that more competitively priced vehicles like those that come from China could accelerate the transition to green energy. That's the perspective that I share. Not saying that I don't see points from the other side, because there's valid points on both sides. Again, if the goal is to reduce carbon emissions, shouldn't we support any initiative that makes electric vehicles more accessible, regardless of where they come from? Let's dig a bit deeper into the European market. Germany is home to automotive giants like BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Volkswagen. These companies are all heavily invested in electric vehicle technology, but they still face stiff competition from Chinese brands. Tariffs could provide a much needed buffer for these companies to adjust and be able to innovate. However, consumer groups argue that this could slow down the adoption of EVs, especially with higher prices deterring potential buyers. It's a classic case of balancing industry protection with consumer benefit. Finally, let's take a look at Canada. Our neighbors up north are also weighing the pros and cons of tariffs. Canada has been following developments in the US and Europe pretty closely lately. They're considering similar measures. Canadian automakers share the same concern about competition and market fairness. However, like Europe, there's also a strong push for environmental friendliness. The debate in Canada is balanced between protecting local industry and promoting green initiatives. I recently spoke with a friend in Toronto who's an avid EV enthusiast. He told me that the availability of affordable EVs from China made it more possible for people to switch from gas to electric. He's worried that tariffs might slow down this positive trend. On the other hand, we're not stupid. He also understands the need to support Canadian business, to support domestic business. So where do we stand? Again, it's a tough issue with valid points on both sides. Tariffs could protect local industries and ensure fair competition, but they could also lead to higher prices and disrupt supply chains. On the other hand, making EVs more affordable could accelerate the move, not just the move, the global move to sustainable transportation around the globe. As a NEO investor, of course, I'm watching these developments very closely and thoroughly. NEO and other Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers have made impressive advancements, and it'll be interesting to see how these geopolitical tensions impact their global strategies. Now, I'd like to flip it back over to you guys. I'd like to hear from you. What do you think about these potential tariffs? Do you believe that they are necessary to protect the local industries, or do you think that they might hinder the global transition to electric vehicles? Drop your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let's get this conversation started. Really interested in hearing every single person's perspective. That's all for today's episode of the Courtside Financial Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, click that notification bell icon, and leave a comment down below. Hey, you can even join the free Courtside Financial Discord where you can reach me at any time. I make myself very accessible, and I like to keep the conversation going even when we're offline. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next installment. Thank you for your patience this week, and we're back on road.